gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens. A view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphear.
Skip is here, but Deb is not. So Deb is not with us tonight, but I'm flying solo. Wheels up. Let's go, my friend. And welcome to Skip Happens. Sorry, we are just a little bit late. You know, things have... Cassidy's laughing at me, and she's got every right to, because she's been watching me on this end trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's one of those nights where we all have these issues every once in a while that things just don't go the way they're supposed to go. So, but we're doing it this way, and hopefully everybody can see me okay, and I can see Cassidy, so it's all good. How are you, Cassidy Lynn?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm a little better now.
Yeah.
A little flustered.
We all have those days and those moments. So it's less stressful
crazy
when you get to watch someone else have it. But I feel for you.
You're just sitting there going, look at him. He's like flipping out. He's freaking out. He's going nuts. Can't find his glasses. He's going to try this and he's going to try that. But anyways, all right. All that put aside, we're here. My camera's a little different tonight, but I guess it looks fine. Hopefully it looks fine on your end as well.
Yes.
But Cassidy Lynn, we've actually been friends for a lot of years. And I asked her before we went on the air, I said, how long has it been? And it was just like, shit, it's been a long time.
Since what? And you said, I don't know.
I know. Think about it. So, but Cassidy is a Central New York native, which is, we're so proud of her because she got up and left a 315 and ended up in the 615. So, and that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing. And you've done very, very well for yourself. And I know we've had you here on Skip Happens before, but it's been a while, but there's a lot of catching up to do. Yeah. And, some of the big stuff. Let's get caught up with you. What's been going on?
Well, it's always a grind, we were talking, I had another babe, almost a year ago. So that's been keeping me busy.
You mentioned that, and I went, oh, that was only last month. How can it be almost a year ago?
I know.
It's like, wow.
I know.
So awesome.
They don't tell you it goes faster the second time.
Mm-hmm. How is it doing what you do, being a songwriter and a performer and all that, and having a family? How do you juggle all that?
It's probably like juggling most things. I think that the flexibility of it helps, with as far as being a parent, but I have to call on my husband a lot if there's after hours stuff, or like a podcast during bedtime, or whatever it is, which is great. And so that's I try to like make sure, with so many distractions in our world, that when I'm somewhere, that I'm as present as I can be doing that thing, whether I'm doing this or writing or with my kids, like just try to be there when I am.
Do the kids know what mommy does?
I
know the other one's pretty young, but what about the first one?
My first one, his name's Abbott, and he is 3.5, and he knows. Yes, he loves to have me pull my guitar out and use his guitar to play with me. And I told him I had to get on the computer tonight, and he said, "Are you going to do music?" And I said, "Yep." And he said, "I like when you get your guitar out and sing to me." And he's never said that, and I was like, "Oh, thanks. I like."
I know. How sweet is that?
I know. Yeah. So I think to some degree he understands it, but.
That's awesome. Tell us about your journey a little bit. When did you leave this area, head to Nashville? And let's talk about that. Kind of a review. I know we've been through this before, but It's been a while. So
yeah. So I went to I got into a band up there when I was 16 and spent my last couple of years of high school playing the area. Started at county fairs before that, but got into a band at 16. So all the guys were in their 40s. They'd been playing for years and years, and they were just awesome musicians, and I learned a lot really quickly.
Oh, I bet you did.
And so I'd initially planned to move to Nashville after high school, but we were playing like some of the big show openers, and I was meeting a lot of artists from Nashville that way. And I was like, I'm going to just, keep doing this here and have, the supporters that had been coming out, like I wanted to really have a support system when I left,
Sure.
and so it was doing that. And then in 2008, I went to school up there for 2 years, and then transferred out in 2008 and went to Belmont and finished college there.
Good
I'm
move.
aging myself
Yeah.
right now. And finished Belmont in 2010. Went for music business, which basically is a business degree. You just learn about copyright law and contracts and things like that. Um, and so I wanted to do that versus like a performing arts degree, because I'm like, I'm still gonna have to prove if I'm good at this, whether my diploma says that, my degree says that.
Mhm.
So that was just the approach I took. But and then after college, I got a job at a Christian music publishing company on the sales and marketing side.
Mhm.
Just because I was afraid to work on Music Row. I didn't want people to be like, oh, she's on the business side, she's not a creative, because I very much was trying to be a creative. And
Okay.
so did that for 2.5 years till they eliminated my position, which was really
Well,
a
that
great thing
sucks.
for me. Well, it was
Mhm.
actually really good because I was I was working 8 to 5 in a cubicle. I was taking 2-hour lunches to go take publishing meetings. I was writing
Mhm.
songs from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. and waking up and doing it all over again, just like to get better and meet people and be where I needed to be. And um, it was tiring, but it was good. And then when they eliminated my position, within a couple of weeks, I got a part-time job at an actual publishing company on Music Row. Not actual, a country publishing company on Music Row. They're both publishing companies. One's a Christian World, one's a country world. Um,
Right.
and so, yeah, so started doing that and then writing the other half of the week. So I'd work a couple days, write a couple days,
Oh, cool.
and yeah, and released my first EP in 2013 during that time. And I had told them when they hired me at the country publishing company that I was never going to push my music on them. But it
Mhm.
was that point that it got in their hands. And they were like, okay, we need to have a conversation. And I was like, okay, let's talk. And so I had been meeting with everyone in town. And I finally met with a guy named Mike Sebastian at Given Entertainment in December of 2013. And he offered me a deal. And I was like, "Can you
Mhm.
just say that again? Say it again. Say it slower." Because you hear no
Cassidy,
so many times.
Cassidy, we've got a deal for you. Are
Yeah,
you listening?
you hear no so many times that when you hear yes, you're like, can you just
Yeah.
repeat that? Wait,
You know,
I
you're
don't
not the only one that has said that. A lot of the artists that Deb and I usually talk to, it's like, you've got to learn to take no for an answer every once in a
Yeah,
while because it happens so often. But
yeah.
there's so many people there trying to do what you're doing,
And at the end
So
of the
it's
day,
got to be expected.
there's no like, this is gonna work and here's why.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. You know what I mean? So there's like
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
guaranteed anything. And so that makes it even harder for people to make decisions. So I signed my first deal in February of 2014. And then I was writing songs for a living. So moving to Nashville, had aspirations to be an artist and wanted to take the route of writing songs, because once you start to get hits for other people, they
Hmm.
consider you for artistry kind of more easily. You sort of have more access, if that makes sense.
No, no,
So I
I
was,
got you. Yeah.
yeah, so I was trying to like do that, but then as I fell
Hmm.
in love with songwriting, my desire to go be a touring stadium artist kind of shifted to like, I'd love to sell out 1,000-person, theaters, to because they know my songs are gonna move them, but I don't know that I necessarily have to go be Miranda Lambert. You know what I mean? So
Right. No, exactly. Exactly. But being a songwriter, I mean, in a sense, when those artists sing your song,
yeah,
in a sense, you're up there, even though you're not really up there. But,
sure.
if it's a sold out arena, it's still a song that Cassidy had a part in writing.
Yeah,
So,
and that was a thing that I never thought of until someone sang a song of mine, and I was like, "Oh, wow." Like, I didn't see this coming, that this would be so
mhm,
fulfilling, you know? And so that was, like, what kind of started to shift that focus a little bit for me.
sure. Wow. Who are some of the people you've written with? I know you've been doing really well, and we've got some really good news. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. I'm pretty excited for you. And, we may be hearing, but we might be, let me put it this way. We'll be hearing some of Cassidy's work on the radio real soon, I'm sure, if not already here in the central New York area. So, but tell us about some of the people you've been writing with.
I feel like since I've been around for so long now, like, everyone starts to have this, like, respect for each other, but it goes back so far. Like there are people, I feel like you wouldn't know who they were unless it was like, this is what they wrote. This person and this is what they wrote. So I mean, like I have some friends. Clint Daniels is a big one. He's written
Sure.
for Eric Church and Joe Nichols and Brooklyn
Mhm,
Dunn.
mhm, mhm.
Jason Matthews, who's written for, I mean, everybody. Luke Bryan. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
he wrote that song That's Just Jesse. Who did that?
Um,
Kevin Denny? Was that?
was it Kevin Denny?
I don't
You
remember.
know, I'm not
Anyway,
really sure, but I realize that, and I know those names because I'm
yeah,
kind of working in the business, and I hear from not only the artists but the companies that are pushing the product, the song to radio, and you know they'll say this is written by so and so or so, you know, and all
yeah.
that. But the average person, they'll look at you and go, "Who are you?" Because
Oh
you
yeah,
know you say that song is me. Are you
right.
kidding? You know, so
Yeah. And one of my
and that
first friends here,
that's
his name
cool.
was Forrest Whitehead. I learned a lot. Like we were both baby writers and we were just learning from each other.
Hmm.
And he went on to sign a publishing deal a couple years before me. And then he was the guy who ended up writing Kelsey Ballerini's first 3 number ones and then producing her first 2 records, you know. And
Wow.
Kelsey Ballerini was nobody and they
Yeah.
started writing with her, you know, and that's just
Mhm.
kind of the name of the game these days is getting in with an artist before they're well known. And if you jive with them and you're in their camp, then you kind of got a straight shot onto their albums. So
But you're not only songwriting, you're getting out and you're playing. And I know
yeah,
you've been at the Bluebird, you've been at different venues in Nashville. What's it like to play a venue like the Bluebird?
the Bluebird is like unreal. Like I've played several times and I'm never less nervous than I was the time before. Like I'm always nervous about it. And I like even this last show, it was February 1st I played, so last month. And I was just like nervous the whole time. I was like, yo, I cannot shake this. And I don't know why, because I don't really get nervous to play anymore.
Right. I don't think all the times I've seen you and we've known each other for a while, I've never seen you nervous.
Yeah.
I get the impression like I'm Cassidy, I have this, let's do it.
Right. And I feel like a lot of times you got to tell yourself that because I've done it enough now
Mhm.
that I'm like, if you're doubting yourself now, like, you know,
Yeah, really, seriously.
I just think at the Bluebird, like, it's so rewarding that they have to be shushed if they talk because they're supposed to listen to every word, but it's
Mhm.
also so nerve-wracking that they have to do that, and they're eye level. So, like, you're not higher than them. They're in the same size seat as you. So, like, they're right here in front of you.
Right there, all eye level, and you could probably hear a pin drop in the place when somebody's playing.
Yeah.
So even if a pin drops, they're going to say, "Pick it up." Shh.
Yeah.
But
Right.
what's it like though? How do you get to play in the place like the Bluebird?
Well, when I first moved to town, I stood in line in February in the freezing cold
Hmm.
to audition.
Yep.
And that's where I met Mitch Rossell, who's now writing Garth Brooks hits.
Cool.
But like they basically said, if you play 5 times and you do a good job, whatever that means, like you'll start to book rounds here. And I played 5 times and nothing happened. And then I played Tin Pan South and I met a guy whose wife books the rounds and he's like, I'm sending her all your info right now. You have to book some rounds there. Crickets. So the only way I've ever played around there is if I've been invited to play around there.
Right.
And so I've probably played 5 or 6 now, that weren't like open mic, like actual rounds.
Mhm.
But I guess like the more you do that, and the more they see you, the more they'll be like, "Hey, like we've seen you. You should book around." You know?
Exactly. How often do you get out and play some of the writers' rounds?
I would say not so, like maybe once every couple of months. Like I played List
Okay.
Room a couple months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, First starting out, like when I first got here, I'd be out like every week, just because like figuring it out and finding co-writers and whatever. And that's still important. But, there's something to be said sometimes about playing your cards close and like not playing out
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah. No, I got you. When was the last time Mom came by for a visit?
My mom,
Yeah. Oh, wait a
um,
minute. She's in the other room. No,
no,
just
my
kidding.
cat is like clawing at my window I'm hiding in my bedroom away from my children. And my cat is clawing at my window outside. Hashtag real life peeps.
Real life, exactly, and that's why I love the podcast because now you and I are friends, as I've mentioned already a million times, but still, I think I'd like to bring out the fact that regardless who I talk to, you're still a real person. You have a life, you have pets, you've got a family, you
Right.
grocery shop like everybody else, But You know, just knowing you, and you made the move and you've done real well for yourself because you're aggressive, you know what you want, and you're going to go after it when it comes to songwriting and performing and all that. So that's
And
pretty
it's
cool.
been interesting because the industry has shifted and changed a lot since I got here,
Yeah.
and
And how has it changed?
it just in so many ways. Growing up, listening to 90s country, it was all
Hmm.
artist driven, and
Hmm.
the songs were written by songwriters.
True.
And as technology developed and people were able to get songs free or cheap or streamed or however,
Hmm.
it took money away from the industry because people weren't buying albums. And so, in an effort to make more money, some of the artists wanted a piece of the publishing.
Oh,
And so
wow.
artists started to want to write their own songs. And now it's really, really like really hard to get a song on a record that the artist isn't on. Like there are people like George Strait and Tim McGraw who are
Hmm.
still
Hmm.
out there who are like, you guys are better at this than I am.
Right.
Um, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to write a song. Some artists are incredible songwriters, but some of them aren't. And when they don't want to cut outside songs, which means songs that they didn't write,
Hmm.
there's
Hmm.
maybe one or two spots on an album for this many songs in town.
Sure. Sure.
So like the part about it that they say like it takes talent and it takes
Hmm.
who you know, but there's a whole lot of luck involved. Like that's where that comes in because it's like there's only so many spots for songs.
And how do you pitch a song to an artist? You've written a song, and maybe you and somebody else, and you go, you know what, this would really fit Luke Bryan. How would you pitch it to him, or does he come to you, or does he go to the where you work and look at the whole catalog of songs? How
I
does
wish
that
Luke
work?
Bryan would come knocking on my door and say, "What you got, girl?" I'd be like, "Sure, I got all these." No. I wish you would. Um, no, so basically what I would do in that case, like when you have a publishing deal, like,
Hmm.
they do that for you. And I currently am not. And when I left it in 2020, that's a whole other story.
Okay.
But they it's their job to kind of take your best songs and go play them in pitch meetings for A&R people or whatever so
Hmm.
that they can
Hmm.
hold them for the artist and what they're looking for and then go play it for them. It happens in all different kinds of ways. That's like the most traditional way, but that it doesn't always happen that way. If I'm an outside writer and I don't have a publishing deal, but my co-writer does, their
Hmm.
publisher is going to go do it. Or I can, if I know someone who knows Luke Bryan's manager, I can just reach out to them and be like, "Hey, I really need you to check this out." So there's
Yeah,
all different
exactly.
avenues.
Exactly.
You just got to get
Exactly.
scrappy sometimes,
And how does, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
Totally,
right.
totally get that. How does a songwriter get paid?
Songwriters. Okay, so
Or you
when
don't?
you very little. When you have a
Okay.
publishing deal,
Hmm.
they pay you what they call a draw. And it's basically your salary that's
Hmm.
high enough that you're not so stressed about keeping the lights on that you can't write songs, but low enough that you're not going to owe them a bunch of money back because your
Right.
draw is recoupable.
Right. That's whenever you hear draw, it's like, okay, I'm getting paid, but I'm not really getting paid because I have to pay it back.
Right, right. So if and when you recoup, you just saw my sweatpants. You see that? If
Oh
and
yeah.
when,
I
if and
can't
when
do
you
that.
recoup, if and when you recoup in a publishing deal, you can always renegotiate the way the money comes in so that you can start to make more.
Hmm.
But if you don't recoup after a certain amount of money, that's when they would drop you because they're like, okay, we're not bringing it back in.
Right.
And so they would write it off. So I don't just
She's got
have
to
like
go. She's got to go. She's not making us money.
right.
That's it.
Oh, but I also don't like it's not only a reflection of me, it's also a reflection of them and pitching and all that.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
and if they're $100,000 in the hole on you, they can write it off. I don't have like a tab now forever that
Right. 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 No, no, but still, I mean, that's what I think a lot of songwriters and a lot of or aspiring songwriters or people that want to be artists don't understand. It's a lot of work because yeah, you'll get a draw, but you got to pay all this money back before you actually start putting money in your own pockets.
right.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you get the draw, but then like once you start to recoup, depending on what your deal says, they either take 100% of what you make until you pay it back and then you get a huge chunk,
Hmm.
or they take 50% of what you make until you pay it back. And that's way more rare to find a deal like
I
that.
got you.
Um,
Gotcha.
so a lot of times they want 100% so that they can get their money back first.
What songs I know, but I want you to tell tell our viewers and our listeners that even my inner ears are weird today. I swear to God, somebody came down in this pod zone of mine today and did something. I should ask my son. That's all I'm saying. Mom and dad work all day. He's home. So it could be anything.
Maybe
But
he was at party earlier. You never know.
now I forgot what I was going to ask you. What did I start out saying? Anyways, let's forget about that right now. Tell us about what's going on with Tracy Lawrence. Because
you were saying something about what songs, and then you said, I know, but they don't know. And then you said, what songs?
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. What songs of yours or that you have co-written that have been played on the radio? So people know.
Oh, I mean.
Ball Cap.
Yeah. Ball Cap.
Loved it.
So Glenn Templeton brought that to number 1 on Sirius XM Radio. Dylan Scott put it on his debut album with Curb Records. And then, I mean, I had a girl who won The Voice a few years ago that recorded something recently. I had a girl named Stephanie Quayle, who's well known in town, who's sort of on the ride. She played one of my songs that she cut on the Opry last year. That was the first time I had a song on the Opry, which was so cool.
Oh, wow.
That was a full circle moment for me, for sure. But as far as like terrestrial FM radio play, like it's something that I'm still working towards.
Yeah, I know you have music coming out. I know that. And, we talk about Sirius. We consider that radio as well. So it's been played. Sure. People have heard your music. They just don't know who Cassidy Lynn is. And that's why I'm doing this, because people need to know who Cassidy Lynn is. Not just
on my Spotify page. On my Spotify page, I do have a playlist that's called Songs I Wrote. And wow. There's like 30 songs on there that have been released by other artists on Spotify besides me. And so that's really cool to kind of sort through sometimes and just be like, okay, like you kind of have to celebrate your victories and be like, okay, this is, like I had 30 songs out that people recorded that, but there's an artist on the rise and you have to watch for him. I don't know if you've met him yet. His name's Jordan Fletcher.
Oh, I've heard of him. I have not met him, but I have heard of him. Yes.
Good dude. He signed with Triple Tigers, which is where Russell Dickerson is.
Yep.
And he just put out his first EP that Dave Cobb produced. And Dave Cobb produces Chris Stapleton, which I'm sure you know.
Yep. Yes.
And so he put out a 4-song EP as his first like debut on this record label, and I had a song on it with him. So that was a really cool release date. That actually came out the same day as the Tracy thing.
That's just got to be such a high to know that your music's getting played with different artists, and it's included in in different shows and stuff like that on the radio, whether it's satellite or terrestrial. You got to know that. Now I want to know about this Tracy Lawrence deal. This is pretty big. I've been reading about it and I'm going, oh my God, Cassidy wrote this song and Tracy's singing it. This is cool. Yeah. So tell us about it.
Yeah. So I wrote with Connor Sweet. So Connor Sweet and I were on we had the same publishing company for a while. He's still there and he is also an artist. And then there's a woman named Marla Cannon, and she is Buddy Cannon's daughter. So Buddy Cannon wrote like Friends in Low Places and Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Everybody, well, most of us know who Buddy Cannon is. All right.
Marla is like in her 50s, but she's his daughter, and she wrote The Fool for Leanne Womack. She wrote whatever, the Jose Cuervo, whatever it is, that 10 rounds of Jose Cuervo. And I mean, she's had like tons of hits. And so she and I wrote with Connor. We wrote this song called Don't Drink Whiskey. And we thought it was pretty cool. And Marla's publisher heard it and she was like, I really, really want to pitch this for Cole Swindell. Can you guys get like a guitar vocal done? Like something besides a really rough work tape. We're like, sure. So we put a date on the calendar to do it. And I had a friend who does tracks, and I was like, and he doesn't do outside tracks. He usually only does his own, but he's like the best. And I'm like, can you just do, and he's like, sure. So I had to write that same day. And Connor will admittedly tell you that he's not a great phrasing guy. Like he needs you to sing it down to him first. So I was like, so I went over before my write, got all the phrasing down with him, went back to my write while Connor did the vocal. Then after my write, went back to put background vocals on it so we could get it done that day. And I was going to cancel my write, but they were like, no, you're not canceling. I was like, okay. So we just made it happen. So I went back and put harmonies on it. We got this song done, and then Cole Swindell passed. Like,
he didn't want it.
That's the name of that. I don't know if he did, his people did, but that's like the name of the game. It's like, let's see how much effort we can put into this for them to not want it. Like that's like my life. And so anyway, so then it just kind of sat, and we actually talked about revisiting a couple of the lyrics. We're like, maybe there's something we missed on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Connor calls me. I'm in my kitchen, and he's like, you are never going to believe who just called me. And Connor loves 90s country. And I was like, okay, who? And he was like, Tracy Lawrence just called me. I was like,
Oh, cool.
are you sure? I was like, what do you, he's like, have you ever heard him talk? Like, yes, I'm sure. Like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, what do you say? He's like, well, he wants to cut Don't Drink Whiskey. And I was like, he does? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's cool. Like, how did that happen? And I guess Marla's publisher pitched it, and she knows everybody. So she probably pitched it to him. I don't even know. I'm not really even sure how that happened. But I was like, what? So he said, yeah, he's doing 3 albums. He's recutting a bunch of his old stuff, and like he's putting a few new songs on, and Don't Drink Whiskey is going to be one of them. Well, one thing they'll tell you in town is not to believe that until it's printed. Like until my name is in,
Yep.
Until my name is in the flap, like it ain't happening, you know.
Yep.
So
in the fine print, where it should be in the big print, along as well as the artist. But go ahead.
So I was just like, great. I don't know what I'm ever going to hear about this again, but that's awesome. Like, yes, I was excited, but you know, just cautiously optimistic as you need to be. So,
listen, this is it, right?
If you've never snuck behind a barn to smoke a cigarette,
You wrote
if you've
this.
never had a breakup fight the whole town can't forget, if there ain't a list of things that you do differently, you probably don't drink whiskey.
Love the fiddle.
If you've never let some words fly out you wish you could take back, if you've never had to turn around on the road to where you're at, if the path you're on ain't paved with inconsistencies, you probably don't drink whiskey. And if you've never woke up on the wrong side of the bed, with a war of wondering what went wrong going on inside your head, if you've never had your heart ripped apart, realized how lonely loneliness can be, you probably don't drink whiskey.
How does
sounds
that?
great.
Oh, my God, it's so good. How does that make you feel, though? Maybe it's a dumb question, but when you hear that, what do you feel?
It gives you like a little bit of like, I did it. Like I did what I said I was going to do. You know what I mean?
You did it.
Just getting on the other side of, I always said on the other side of the radio, and like hearing an iconic voice like that. Like I grew up with Sam on and Paint Me in Birmingham and, you know, Texas Tornado.
Alibi.
Yeah. And, you know, and the album he put this on is with all of those. Like he re-recorded them all, and right smack dab in the middle of them, if you look at the track list, is our song. And I was just like, just a voice like that is just really cool. It's an honor for sure.
Have you been in attendance where he has performed that?
Not yet. I hope to be.
You need to be.
Yeah, at some point.
Need to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
but
does he know who you are?
I don't know. Like he knows Marla. I know he's called Connor, and and I know he knows that I'm on it. I have never had a conversation with him about it.
Have you had him over for coffee yet?
No, but I should be on that for sure.
You know, he's a really cool guy. He hangs out with my friends Big D and Bubba. They all do their, you know, they've got their own business going, and of course they do our morning show. So, but you know, more often than not, Tracy Lawrence is bouncing around the studio. So
yeah, so apparently they made a music video for it that's on CMT. And so it was supposed to come out on January 28th. And on the 27th, it was on Spotify. And so Marla and Connor and I were texting each other. We're like, do you know anything about this? Like, what's happening? They're like, oh, I think it's on CMT. I was like, there's a video? Like, you find out as the world finds out. Like, we didn't know anything. So I was like, okay, great. You know? And so we posted about the video and then the song. And
I was kind of fiddling around here to get it. That's what I was doing while you were talking, because I wanted to play it. And I who knows what's going to happen on this end tonight. I brought that up off YouTube. So
there you go. Oh, the video.
Yeah, the video. That was the video. I hope it was. It was something. I don't know. But all I know was it's a damn good song.
Yeah.
Don't
So
drink whiskey.
here's how you know you've been in Nashville for a long. Thank you, by the way. I wasn't trying to skip over that.
No.
Um, but I was just gonna say the way you know you've been in Nashville a long time is in the video. They filmed it at a place called Urban Cowboy in East Nashville. There's a
Okay.
cowboy and a ballerina. And the ballerina is a songwriter, and I've written with her before. Like that's
Really?
how you know you've been around a while. But
Everybody knows everybody.
that's
Anybody
right.
that's in the business, it's like
Yeah.
it's a close knit group of people,
Yeah. for
more or
sure.
less, more or less.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good and some bad, and it all just kind of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's life. We all go through it. We won't go
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And in a small town, you drive around and you're kind of like, you know where everybody's at 'cause you know their car. And it kind of gets like that on Music Row, which is kind of cool.
How deep into Nashville do you go? Do you just go to Music Row? Is that where you guys work out of, or that's where they you guys write, or do you go right into town and hang out at some of the places? You kind of, if you're now, I'm not there. I'm there once or twice a year,
Right.
which I never see you.
I
But
I try to hunt you down every CRS.
you did, and yeah, the country radio seminar was just 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
I know I did get a text from you. It's like, I was just crazy. You know how it goes. It gets so crazy. As much as you'd love to spend time with somebody, it's like you get pulled in so many different directions,
Yeah.
and you just got to do what you got to do. But that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And when you come back to the area this summer to visit the fam or whatever you're going to do, play out, you do have my phone number.
Mhm.
Just saying.
I'll give you a call for sure.
We'll get you in the radio station too. We do something. But
Yeah, that'd
do
be
you
great.
do you don't go down to the tourist areas? Do you go down on Broadway anymore?
Not much. I mean, here and there, once in a
Yeah.
while. But I think it's fun to be a tourist every once in a while. And
Yeah, maybe every once in a while. But what I was going to say, even somebody like me, I only go there once or twice a year, and it's gotten to the point where, okay, I'm not going to go over there. I'll go over here. I like to go places like the Station Inn or hit the, some of the bars on the outskirts of town, so to speak.
Robert's Western World is still pretty much a haven too.
Yep. The Cash Kings play there,
Yep.
and the drummer, oh God, I can't think of his name now. He's actually from Cortland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep.
That's
And
cool.
his son is him and his new bride. They have a duet thing going in Nashville. So yeah,
That's cool.
it's really
I
cool.
followed the Don Kelly band for a long time, and he just retired, but they do still play. And he had Johnny Cash's original bass player for years and years and years. And now the guy that plays bass for them is a lot like Jerry Lee Lewis, like that same energy that's like up on the side of the upright
Yep.
bass, and like it's just
Oh
crazy.
my God, that's so awesome. That's so
So
awesome.
cool. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, but as far as it's gotten, like the demographic of country music has gotten younger, so the crowd in Nashville has gotten younger. As you witnessed, we've bypassed Vegas for the number of
crazy.
bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
So
Y-
I don't go there a whole lot.
No, and I get that. I totally understand that. It's just a lot of people. I think Nashville's a cool place to go, a cool place to visit. Yeah, if you've never been there,
Yeah.
take in all the, you get all the different restaurants, and every major country artist has his own restaurant on a certain corner. All that's going on, and why not? If you're going there to see what it's all about,
Yeah.
absolutely take it in. But if you're going to do that, you need to go to the Ryman. You need to go, to places like that and see what the history is all about. Because when I walk into the Ryman Auditorium behind Tootsie's, when I walk into that, it's like, wow. And we had lunch there a couple of weeks ago when I was there for the seminar. So it's just every time I do that, it's just amazes me.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to play on that stage?
I have.
Wow.
My first job in Nashville was at the Ryman. I don't know if did I ever tell you that?
Probably not, because you don't tell me much.
Well, I walked around Broadway because I wanted to be where the action was, and I literally applied everywhere, like gift shops, and the only place that called me back was the Ryman, and that was the one I wanted. And so I was a concert usher to start with, and at 7:30 in the morning once a month, they'd have the whole roster of concerts for the month, and you would sign up for the ones you wanted to work. So like I got to see some incredible shows. And so after being a concert usher for a while, I transitioned into being a backstage tour guide because I just am a nerd when it comes to the history of country music and how it's all connected. And so I was giving backstage tours and doing the concert thing. And so I should say I have not played the stage when it's like sold out, but they would allow like each once a year they did a big event where we could like play on the stage if that was what we did or whatever. So I played it a couple times for that.
That's exactly what Trisha Yearwood did. Not the Ryman, but she worked at the Country Music Hall of Fame
Yep.
way back in the day.
Yep.
She started taking tickets, and then she ended up doing the tours. Now
Yeah.
look at her. Just saying.
Yeah.
Everybody does, Alan Jackson worked in a mailroom. I'm just saying.
And
Everybody's got to do a
Palace.
little something, something. What's that?
In the Nashville Palace.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
See, just, everybody's got to start somewhere. So what's next for Cassidy Lynn?
Writing the stories. I don't know. It's like there are days that I struggle because, country music's changed so much and I still love it, but you're almost like, I'm in love with you for who you used to be. You know what I mean?
No. Absolutely.
So I'm just, at the end of the day, I just want to keep the integrity of what I love about it intact when I'm doing it and creating it and stay true to what I do. And my goal for like my short-term goal for a while has been an FM #1. Like I've stood on #1 stages for handfuls of friends. And I'm like, at some point,
it's going to happen.
This is going to be mine,
it's going to happen.
Which I love celebrating my friends. Don't get me wrong, I know. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get in the rooms that make sense and write with artists who are kind of on the rise. And
do you think you'll always be an independent artist?
I don't know. Like there's a record label rep in town that she's just been in my corner for years. She heard my writing. She's like, this girl knows who she is. She signed Ashley McBride. Like she could just any day be like, hey, you want to do this? But I've never like beat down her door to do that. As far as the artistry goes. So, I mean, I'm not saying I never want or would have a record deal. It's not something I've been pursuing, but
I'll tell you why I asked, because knowing you're about yourself and running your own life and making it happen your own way. And that has gotten you to where you are today. Even though you're not at superstar status, you're one of those that's writing those songs that go to the superstars or the big artists. So that's why I think I could just see you continuing to do what you're doing and making it work for you. And it's your passion and your dedication. And granted, country music, I know just like you do, it's not the same as it was back in the 90s. Been there, done that. It's, it's a whole different feel nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know there are just artists who struggle when the record label's like, go get the numbers on TikTok and then we'll sign you a deal. It's just a little bit backwards in that way. Right now. Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, they want
to each their own.
Get it. Right. But
I totally get it.
But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like I'm the CEO of Cassidy Lynn LLC and I've got to believe in my product more than anybody else.
There you go.
And you do. And I think at some point when I was approaching 30, I just kind of was like,
don't even go there.
Right. Well, I just, in my 9-year-old head, when I had this dream, I was this huge stadium artist and then I could figure out my family and whatever later. So when I was like, like maybe I should let all of this happen. It was one of those things where it was like, I'm a lifer. And like, it might not always be pretty and it might have to look different ways at times and seasons,
I know, but still, you're in it for the long run, girl.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. You are. And when you get home, of course, hopefully you'll be playing out, doing a couple of little things here and there, because I just can't see you coming home and not doing that, because every time you've been home, you've been somewhere. So, but it's so cool. What can we find on CassidyLynnMusic.com if we were to go to the website?
That's a great question. I haven't been on it in a while. No, I'm just kidding. Well, last year, and then I guess the year previous. So the fall of 2019 that is false. The fall of 2020 into early 21, I was releasing singles. So there are 4 songs that I recently released. As I guess the last one was a year ago this month. It was a song called The Writer. I just uploaded a video of that to commemorate the 1 year. So there's that kind of stuff. And then so my music's on there, and just like you can find when I do book some of those shows, you'll find the dates there and some info about what I'm up to.
Stuff. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
You're just awesome. And thanks for taking the time to chit chat a little bit. I definitely wanted to find out about the Tracy Lawrence situation. That is, we're just so proud of you. That is so cool. When I
Yeah.
saw it on Facebook, I went like, yes, you go. I am a big supporter. I know you don't hear from me much. It's just we're all so busy, but
Sure.
you always have a friend right here. And if you ever
Okay.
need anything, like playing the music, I can help you. So-
Yeah, I know. I'm always
so
like, here's this song that's coming out. Play it on your
I know.
station.
Yes, you did that with Ball Cap, but you know what? I mean, Ball Cap, they're all great. I love that song, and then it was gone. But it was definitely good stuff and upbeat, feel good. Glenn Templeton. You gotta love that. You gotta love that stuff. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Cassidy, you're awesome.
Skip,
You know?
you're awesome. Thank you
No,
for
Cassidy, you're awesome. Yeah. How far outside of Nashville do you live?
It takes about 35, 40 minutes,
Okay.
probably.
And that's on a good day.
And we're great. I mean, once we're out here, it's like worth it. But
Yeah,
even the housing market out here is blowing up now. So everybody moving here. And we're like, we ain't got room
it's
to go home.
crazy. I know there's no room. Stay home.
We're full.
We're full. No, I know that. I've seen it, and I've seen it over the years grow. And used to land there, and you can get to go into town and take you 20, 25 minutes to get into town. Now, if you arrive at the airport and you need to go into town, and it's an hour. So just depending on time of day and traffic, but it's crazy. And there's a crane on every corner, or there was.
A what?
A crane.
A crane.
Crane.
Yeah, it's the Tennessee state bird.
There, yep, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Cassidy Lynn, you're awesome. Thanks for coming on Skip Happens tonight.
You're awesome. Thanks.
We love you. Say hi to your mom and everybody. Give the kids a hug, and hopefully all is well with you. And always here for you. You come home, you know where to get a hold of me. Let's do something. We'll have a lot of fun.
Good.
All right, Cassidy Lynn, everybody. Thanks for joining us again, and thanks for coming on. Sorry about the delay. I'm a little more relaxed now. I can go get a cold one, but it's all good. Cassidy.